So you want to sell in your emails, but before you run an intentional promotion or before you do a launch, there is one email that you want to make sure that you send before you start that. And that's what I want to talk to you inside this video. And hey, if we haven't met, I'm Lise, a founder of Hustle and Groove, and I help female entrepreneurs create daily sales without social media. I have sent over 1 million emails and I've worked with over 1,000 people, helping them figure out how to really implement human design and email marketing into their business. So, today I'm super excited to chat to you about this one email that you want to send before you start promoting. But before we go through that, and before I give you all the details, let's talk about what your promotion is going to look like. We want to make sure that we're setting ourselves up for success. So let's dive into that now. So first things first, before you do any type of promotion, you want to make sure that you've just kind of mapped it out. And I'm a huge fan of reverse engineering. Now, what I mean by that is reverse engineering what you're selling to then help influence the emails that you write. Now, we want to always be nurturing and selling. Right? Every single email is an opportunity for you to nurture and sell to your audience. So, when we're getting ready to actually do some type of intentional promotion, so whether that is a flash sale, a birthday campaign, or an actual new program launch, we want to make sure that the 2 weeks prior to that special date arriving, that we have done a bit more nurturing. We're also always going to sell, but we just want to do a little bit more nurturing. Now, you might call this pre-launch content, whatever you want to call it. It is making sure that we know what our audience is all about and that we're meeting them where they're at. So when you know what your promotion is going to be, when you know what that offer is, then the content that you create should be related to that offer, even though you might not be selling it right now, right? We're leading into that. But we still want to present the opportunity for people to buy from us. So here is what you're going to do to get yourself into the best possible situation prior to your special promotional event. Number one, you want to make sure that you have written down the problems that your actual offer is solving, right? So the actual nitty gritty problems. You definitely want to try and shoot for no more than 3 problems. And then what you're going to do is you're going to create emails around those problems. You're going to talk about some information. Now, maybe you already have content that you've written that you can repurpose, which is always my recommendation. So that could be blog, YouTube, video, podcast, whatever. You're going to take that content, you're going to throw it into your AI tool of choice, and you're literally just going to ask it to turn it into an email. Now, you've got a couple of different ways of doing this. You could ask it to turn this into a full email, so where all of the content that you've shared in that piece of long form content just gets turned into an email. So it could be quite a long email. You always want to make sure that you're including an action step, and you always want to include a story. So you need to tell your AI tool to include a story, to provide a lesson, and then to provide a clear action step. And then in your PS, you're going to subtly sell. Now, it depends on what your promotion is going to be, but if you have a complimentary offer that is maybe more low cost, then that's what I would offer in the PS. If you are doing more of a new program launch, then maybe you want to create a wait list or an interest list. Then that's what you would put in the PS. But you want to have around 3 to 4 emails that follow that kind of framework. And that's still nurture and sell, but a little bit more on the nurture side, because we want to make sure that our audience is prepped for the thing that's coming. Now, if you're on the human design bandwagon, depending on your particular strategy, you may also need to do something a little bit extra. So, particularly if you're a manifester or a manifesting generator, you want to make sure that you're always giving your audience a heads up. And that's what the PS is for. Heads up, this is coming your way soon, even if it's a flash sale. Like, I know what my flash sales are going to look like. I always let people know ahead of time that a flash sale is coming. So manifestors, manifesting generators, inform, give them a heads up. As a generator, you just want to make sure that you're sharing your own perspective, right? How did you personally come to be in this situation to be able to be sharing what you're sharing in whatever it is that you're selling? So that would be part of the story and lesson. And then if you're a projector, you already know why someone is struggling with this. So this is where you might choose to include some examples, some stories of people that you've worked for, or situations that you've been present in where you haven't been able to give someone the solution that is perfect for the story component. As a reflector, you're going to lean into whatever your natural way of communicating is. You don't need to do anything specific other than to reflect back what you know you want your audience to experience with whatever it is that you're doing. And then, secondly, you just want to make sure that you are speaking to your audience based on where they're at. And this is where you may or may not choose to segment. Now, segmentation is largely going to depend on whether you have two different people that you're speaking to, whether you have multiple people that you're speaking to, and whether you have actually been able to segment that, whether you've actually been tracking and tagging people appropriately. If you have, then I would recommend segmenting for any type of promotion. You will get higher open rates, higher click rates, because the intention is clearer for those people. They've literally raised their hands and said, I want more of this. Now, if you haven't been doing this, this is where your nurture and sell pre-promotion content is actually going to help you. So if you do this 2 weeks before, what you're going to want to do is make sure that if you are repurposing from your existing long form content, then rather than turning that into a full email, you're just going to ask your AI tool to pull out one nugget from your blog post, for example. And then the call to action is to go and check out that blog post. Now, the hyperlink is going to add a tag to anyone that clicks on that link. And that tag is going to be interest, name of your offer. And then when you get closer to launching and promoting, you can send very specific targeted emails to the people who are tagged with that interest tag. Those emails get to be direct, right? They get to be, hey, I know that you're struggling with XYZ, or you're looking for support with ABC. This is the answer. Then with the rest of your audience, it's more of a blanket promotion, right? That's kind of how that looks. So when you do both of these things, you are setting yourself up for success. But what about the number one email that you want to send before any promotion? Are you ready? Let's talk about that now. So the email that you're going to send before you promote, and you want to do this around 72 hours before your actual promotion. This email is going to have no links. It's literally going to be just a few lines of text, and the subject line is going to be, hey. In the content, you're going to ask a question. You're just going to say, hey, XYZ, right? The person. Just wanted to make sure that you got this email okay. Can you reply to me yes or no? So that's one scenario. The next one, which is my personal favorite, is, hey, lovely, I'm running an experiment. Can you let me know if you got this email? Just a quick reply with yes or no is all I need. Thanks, Les. And that's it. So there's no links. They actually have to reply. The reason that you're doing this is to increase your open rate and engagement. So the more people that reply to this email, the more that your actual email deliverability increases. So you always want to do this just before you do any type of intentional promotion. So like I said, whether that's a flash sale, whether it's an intentional promotion, whether it's a launch, doing this 72 hours prior will ensure that more people see the email that you're actually sending. So it's really simple, really short. Don't overthink this. Don't think, oh, let me make a link. Don't do that, because we want this to get into more people's inboxes. And if you have links in your email, that can sometimes trigger their automatic open and clicks. We don't want that. We want people to reply to that email. So your action step right now is to one, make sure that you set yourself up for success by doing that pre-nurture and sell content 2 weeks before your actual promotion. And two, that you go ahead and send that hey email 72 hours before your actual promotional event is scheduled for. And in the next video that is coming up on your screen, we're going to dive a little bit more into emails and how you can Lorelei Gilmore your emails. I can't wait. That is going to be so much fun. So I will see you in that video.